Sorry for the little delay. My phone just randomly froze and shut off by itself. But we're talking about creation is complete. We're talking about our state of consciousness. And if we want to change our world, we have to change our state of consciousness. And I was discussing how it is not easy to do that, but it's not impossible either. So in order to change our thoughts, and we'll get into this, hi everybody that's joining, my phone froze for no good reason. So we're talking about state of consciousness. So if you would like to change your state of consciousness, you must be reborn. To be reborn is to surrender and let go of your current state of consciousness, only to awaken into a new life and become one with the person in your imagination. So we're talking about changing the state of consciousness. And I was watching a really good video yesterday on how to change your state. And she referred it to a life as a script, right? And in this script, in this movie, in this simulation that we're in, each one of us is the writer of the script, the director of the script, and the star of the script or movie, right? So we have all of those three things going on for us. We get to control what our world is, how people show up in it. So if you are the main character in your movie and you don't like the way that someone is showing up in your movie, you can, as the director or the writer, you can rewrite that character to come in differently. When you're talking about yourself and you don't like the scenario that's happening in your world, can anybody comment if you've done any acting work, if you've ever taken an acting class, you know that you have to change your state of mind to become that character, right? Grand Rising from Puerto Rico. You have to become that character. So I can say for myself, I've been in the entertainment world for most of my life. So to become a different character, I know how to do that, right? For example, I was in a film. This was the hardest character that I had to play. I had to play the mother of a son that overdosed. We filmed it in Boston, and it was for, drug awareness. And I did this film, and the hardest role that I had to go and step into was filming a scene, the funeral scene. So we were in a church. They had the coffin, they had the whole thing, and I had to be the mourning mother, right? So I had to shift my state of mind to be able to play this character. And when it comes to manifesting your reality, how can you become the character that you want to see unfold in your world? As a contractor, I'm rewriting me as the client also. So that's what you do. Say in your world, you're the contractor. You're the contractor in the star of your movie. You're playing the contractor, but you know what? I want to play the client, actually. What state of mind do you have to be in to be able to play this quote-unquote character, right? So it says you cannot be in two states of consciousness at the same time. You can't be in the state that you want to be in, but also be in your old state. Because your old state is going to dominate the new one. Your old state is where 95% is your subconscious mind. So 95% of your day is driven by your subconscious mind. So one is going to outweigh the other. You cannot live in two states at the same time. If you actively are working at it all the time and you are playing the quote unquote character that you want to become and that you want to see unfold in your life, it's going to start to feel more normal. It's going to start to feel like, well, I feel like I'm playing make pretend. I feel like I'm making this up. I feel like I'm delusional. But in order to change your state of consciousness, it has to be repetition and it has to be exactly what you want. You can't live the same life every single day and then expect that your life is going to change if you're not making any shifts. Even if your shift is, I just want to be happier. I want to have happier thoughts. You have to have the repetition of the happier thoughts that are happening and they'll start to feel more normal. So if you wake up every day and you're just like, I hate my life, like I'm going to a job that I hate, what are some of the very small things that you can talk about that you really like? I love working with my coworkers. Like I have amazing coworkers. Or I love, the scenic route that I take to get to my job. What are the small things and the small ways that you can shift your consciousness to a more pleasant one than talking about all the things that you hate every single day, because the universe doesn't give you what you want, it gives you what you are. So if you are playing this role in this movie of your life, which every single one of us is doing, and you want to change that part, you're the writer, you're the director, and you're the star of your movie. So if you don't like the way things are showing up, you are able to rewrite it. But it's up to you to use your repetition every single day to change and shift that state of consciousness. Your new reality will manifest only once you awaken to the naturalness of being the thing desired. So at first, when you start to shift to what you want, you're going to feel crazy. You're going to say, this is nonsense. This is not the way that the world works. Why would I not have known this my whole life? If this is the way the mind works, is the mind will give us what we want as long as we impress upon what we want. For example, and I was reading about this, I don't remember which book it was, but it was talking about Jesus, and that he says, I am the way, the truth, and the light. He didn't refer to himself, I am Jesus, and Jesus is the way, the truth, and the light. That was reconfigured at some point. But he said, I am. The I am, in every single manifestation book, every single subconscious video I've ever seen, the I am is always the most important 2 words that we have, because they are what literally creates our reality. I am the way, the truth, and the light. I am. We can be the truth, the way, the truth, and the light with our I am. Or we could be the opposite of that. I am ugly. I am not good enough. I am not chosen. I am not worthy. I am not wealthy. All these things. I am. Yes, I'm going to save this live. I am the way, the truth, and the light. So we could take that in any way that we want to, but we are that powerful that the 2 words I am are what is going to construct our reality. I need to manifest a way to stop these doctors and managers from twisting people physically and spraying poison in people's faces. That's a big one. I am reading from Project 369. This is a manifestation planner. They have a bunch of different books that are amazing, and they simplify manifestation for people. They simplify the subconscious mind for people so that it's easy for you to read and understand. Because some of this stuff is very heavy. Like if anybody reads Neville Goddard, I know there's people on here that read Neville Goddard stuff. That takes a little bit to like digest. So it took me a while to like really understand his way of thinking, because it's kind of heavy a little bit. I don't know what some people are talking about in this comment section. Okay, so it says you cannot be in 2 states. Your new reality will manifest only once you awaken to the naturalness of being the thing desired. Do not be deceived by the evidence of your senses. Do not be deceived by the evidence, which is your 3D reality. It's so hard to not be deceived. If you're working really hard on your manifestation and you still do not see it in your 3D reality, it's really difficult to say, how the hell is this working? I don't see it in my reality. This is nonsense. And you don't want to believe it. But we talk about birds before land, or at least we have talked about birds before land. Birds before land means all these different signs that happen before you get your manifestation. So if there is birds before land happening, which I'm sure if you're paying attention, when you're really working hard to shift your state of consciousness, you will see things, whether they are good or bad signs, you will still see signs of it. And good or bad is only good or bad in the way that we perceive it. Something that you could think is a really bad reminder, or if you see a reminder of, say it's a person that you're trying to manifest and you see their name everywhere and you're like, why is this happening? Like, it's only reminding me that I don't have it. You in your mind are giving that thought the meaning of good or bad. There is no good or bad, unless you're dealing with something like dark and evil. But I'm saying simple things that we're manifesting. Good or bad is depending on the way that you look at it. So, do not be deceived by the evidence of your senses, for I tell you, once you naturally declare yourself to be the person you desire to be, creation is complete. Carry on your life remaining loyal to the unseen. Yes, that's difficult. Anybody that's doing any manifestation stuff, please comment if you feel that's difficult and how you shift from feeling like you're delusional to just believing and having the faith that the world or the universe or your reality is going to unfold in the way that you want it to. I'm just going to read some comments I don't know what is happening in the comment section. There's always one person that's like somewhere else and not in the reality that the rest of us are in. Take your attention away from anything that doesn't align with your destiny. That's another tough one. Take your attention away from anything that doesn't align with your destiny. If we can master these small things, they're going to lead to the life that you want to have. And I know that there's many of us that feel that we don't have a choice in the life that we have, but that is so far from the truth. Everything, if you want to change your state of consciousness, or if you want to change your world, you must change your state of consciousness. And it is that simple and it is that difficult. Recognize that somehow, some way, reality will manifest accordingly. When will it manifest? Time is an illusion, for all exists in the everlasting eternal now. When you get your desire, it won't be in the future. It'll be in the everlasting eternal now. How will it manifest? That is the beauty of realizing your vision to completion. So you should never ask how, because there's a million things. There could be a million things that have to move and shift in your reality for you to get what you want, but it's not up to you to have to piece that all together. Like, oh my God, well, so many different things have to happen in order for me to have this. That's impossible. That's you blocking your manifestation. It's not up to us as to the how. If we impress the subconscious mind, the universe will conspire to give us what we want. If we impress the subconscious mind with something that we want, the universe will give it to us. For example, I said this on my last live. When I was a dancer, my affirmation every day was, an overabundance of money flows freely to me through my talents. Now, I would do a dance job, and I would not know when the next bit of work was going to come to me. I just knew it was going to happen. How? I don't know how. I don't know how. But sometimes I would forget to do the affirmations. And literally that day, I'd be driving my car to an audition or something. And I would say, an overabundance of money flows freely to me through my talents. And I would say it over and over again. An overabundance of money flows freely to me through my talents. And I just knew through my faith that a job would come, that money would flow to me. And literally later that day, somebody like, hey, are you available to do this makeup job? It's, Thursday. Or, hey, are you available to do this job? It is this day or this day. I just knew that it was going to happen. With so much happening on the external, how do you balance being aware and being in the now? So because there is so much happening on the external, like I talked about this yesterday on my live, that I was talking about that I really don't pay attention to a lot of that's happening on the external. Whereas go back to 2020, all I focused on was everything that was happening all around us and helping people to have like this awakening, right? But now that I think all the people that are supposed to be awakened at this point are, or at least they're in the process of, I don't focus on the political stuff. I don't focus on the negative things. And I don't even read about these things like, oh, nuclear war and war with Russia and all these things. I don't allow my state of mind to go there because that's what it's meant to do, is to program us. So I don't want to continue to program my mind with fear. So what do? I envelop myself with the knowledge that I do want to have. What is the knowledge that I do want to have? For me, it's learning about the subconscious mind. That is like my biggest thing that I really want to learn, I really want to master. So that's where I am. Maybe for other people, it's like, I love doing makeup. Envelop yourself in that. I love building cars. Immerse yourself in that. We don't have to subscribe to the things just because they're on the TV. We don't have to subscribe to things just because hive mentality says that you should look at this. You should look at the opposite. If everybody is paying attention to something, run the opposite direction. If everybody's going this way, I'm going that way. Because what we've learned so far as human beings is that anything that is given attention to is going to lead us in the wrong direction. They want us to look at a certain thing so that we are distracted from what we really need to embrace. So for me, I don't pay attention to this stuff anymore. I immerse myself in the things that I want to have my reality be. So if I want my reality to be doing yoga, working on films, that's where I'm at too. I want to feel good. And we should all want to feel good. Isn't everybody tired of feeling negative or feeling afraid or feeling like that you have to live your life in fear? We're not put on this earth to live a life in fear. But yet that's where most people's consciousness is, because they allow themselves to be manipulated. They allow themselves to watch TV propaganda. They allow themselves to read a newspaper that's TV propaganda. They allow themselves times on their cell phone to scroll on their newsfeed to see propaganda. If you shift your life and your consciousness from reading all this bullshit that is only keeping us in a low vibrational frequency, all of our lives are going to start to change. All of the collective is going to start to shift. Whatever TV says, I do the opposite. No TV news. No, it's brainwashing machine. Absolutely. Feng Shui has this concept. The universe will conspire to provide you with all the resources, people, and circumstances necessary in order for you to manifest your heart's desire. I love the way that they put these things in this book, because when you're getting your ass kicked by your own life and by your own mentality, these sentences are written so simply for everybody to understand. And when you're constantly pouring fear out into the universe, or you're constantly sharing propaganda, or you're constantly saying, the sky is falling, the sky is falling, you're doing a huge disservice to humanity. And a lot of people do it. And a lot of people tag me in this stuff. I don't want to know. I was talking about this yesterday. Of course, if there's things going on in kids' schooling, you definitely want to be a voice for these kids, because they're not a voice for themselves. But when it comes to Joe Biden said this, and this person is doing that, and nuclear bombs and all of the fear shit, I don't want to know about it, because that's not affecting my reality. Until the bomb drops, don't tell me about anything, because I don't care. Because that's not what I choose to feed my reality with, because then my reality is going to become nothing but fear and bad things happening to me or around me, because that's where my mind is. And I'm not living there. So if people want to live there and you choose to live in that state of being, that's great for you, but don't push it on me. Because a lot of people are like, you have to share this, you have to share this. I do not want to continue and be the continuation of fear. If there's anything that I could do by choice, it's empower. By me sharing fear is not me giving or helping people to be empowered. Sutton Kelly says, right, the negative narrative is getting old. And there are certain people that want to continue to share this. You do that, but that's not what I'm doing. I've done it for 3 years, shared enough information that helps people bring awareness. 5G, I was obsessed with it. I still am. I get triggered every time I see a tower or a small cell, all the time. Will I still help inform people? Do I still give out papers? Absolutely. I do that. But I'm not going to continue to share and blast out things that are going to continue to create fear for people. I'm not going to do it. So please stop sharing it with me. So, my friend, don't worry about how it will happen. We don't worry about the how. If collectively we get our state of being to a place of peace, that is what is going to project into our reality. Because people talk about timelines, and there's going to be a timeline shift and a timeline split, and there's multiple timelines at the same time. You get to decide what timeline you are going to live on. There's a timeline where there is beauty everywhere and people are not affected by any of this stuff. That is the shift that I would like to help people make. Yes, we have to work on those triggers because that is a Trojan horse energy drain. I'm with you 100%. It doesn't affect me as much as it used to, but I do still have those triggers. Absolutely. So let's talk about self-concept. Self-concept is so important because that's going to help us shift to the reality that we want. I'm trying not to get triggered right now, actually. Your self-concept is an internal representation of who you are. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't see that. Just put it all in caps. If I don't answer something, just put it all in caps so I can see it. Let me just read this. I did an energy cleaning and protection from chemtrails in the building I live in, and now they're doing a surprise inspection. Does anyone have a way to protect? Protect from what? Chemtrails or protect from what? I'm not sure what that question is. Can you please answer, how do you manifest positive things when narcissist mother stalks you and controls you? Okay, that's a good question that I definitely have an answer to because I dealt with the same thing my whole life. So, when it comes to having a narcissistic parent, and I dealt with it, the most important thing that we have to do with any narcissistic person, whether it's a parent or a sibling or anybody, is create boundaries. That is so important for every single one of us. And not just with a narcissist, just with anybody that takes advantage of you or whatever, is creating boundaries. A parent that stalks you. So my mom used to do the same thing. Where are you? Why aren't you answering my phone calls? I'm busy. I've got it handled. When you start to present limitations to people that are invading your space, and you start to shift your state of being to a person that does have boundaries instead of a person that allows and continues to allow somebody to overstep, they're used to that behavior. Once you shift your behavior, their behavior is going to shift because they're going to have to. They're going to have to react to you in a different way because you're reacting to their behavior in a different way. It's like insanity, doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. Whether it's a verbal boundary or an energetic one, they will get the message. You don't allow that person to continue to do things that make you feel uncomfortable. It's going to take a while, but it's going to work for you because I did this with my mother. She knows she can't mess with me. My sister, it took her a really long time for her to set that boundary and to remain in a state of peace. Even for me, like my mom can steal my peace because she's nuts. But I've learned to accept her for who she is because she's not going to change, but I'm going to change. So if I'm going to change, then that means the relation to her has to change and shift. So I hope that helps. So let's go back to self-concept because self-concept will help you with your boundaries. Why do boundaries feel like betrayals? Because you're conditioned to believe that. Because the way the other person is going to react is going to be a guilt trip. And especially when you're dealing with someone that's narcissistic, when you do put up those boundaries, they will try to guilt trip you. But boundaries is having self-love for yourself. When you create boundaries, no matter what it is, maybe it's a person that you're seeing or whatever, and you don't like the things that they're doing, and you don't voice that's your self-love and your self-respect. But when you voice the things that you don't like, You're continuing to create an inner strength within yourself, no matter who it's with. Create the boundaries. And then everything else will fall into place. You might feel guilty in the beginning, but then the guilt is going to go from guilt to empowerment. You're going to say, wow, look how much my life has shifted by me shifting how I feel about myself. So self-concept. Your self-concept is an internal representation of who you are. It's the way you view yourself based on your beliefs about yourself. So if you have no boundaries, it is because of the way you view yourself. You don't deserve boundaries. You deserve to be walked all over. You don't deserve to be treated with respect. I did set my boundaries with my mother, and I told her she's not welcome at my house, and I refused to tell her where I live. She still found out my address somehow. That's, Jesus, that's a lot. That's a lot, but, and there are parents that are crazy like that. My mom is nuts like that. But, I'm sorry. I love how everybody's like in all caps lock. Like, bitch, if you're not going to answer, it's going to be caps lock. This is Project 369, the Manifestation Planner. I mean, all their books are amazing, but this is the Manifestation Planner that I'm reading from. She found your address anyway. She sounds fun, and I'm being sarcastic, and that must be really hard for you. It must be hard for you to be in that position. But again, it's all about our boundaries, and we have to continue to lay them out. No matter what language you have to speak it to her, because it's going to be difficult for her to understand this for a long time. Until they get used to the new person that you're shifting into. My mom did not like my sister creating boundaries. Who does she think she is and all this stuff, right? But eventually the shift will happen. See your mother in your mind differently. Mom, thank you for showing up as the mother that I always wanted. Mom, thank you so much for respecting my boundaries. Say those affirmations. See her differently. Okay, self-concept. Back to that again. Your self-concept sets your state of consciousness, which is then projected and experienced in your external world. This is the origin of the quote, and I know that I've talked about this. Everything and everyone is you pushed out. That's hard for us to realize and understand. Everything and everyone is you pushed out. Being aware of your current beliefs is synonymous with being aware of your environment and surroundings. Let's read that again. Being aware of your current beliefs is synonymous with being aware of your environment and surroundings. What you currently experience in your world is but a reflection of your beliefs about yourself. So we take those sentences will tell you that you take full responsibility of everything that happens around you in your world. If everything and everyone is you pushed out, the universe gives us what we are, not what we want. And that's a really hard realization. And I fight with myself all the time about that. So I'm like, well, this is my state of consciousness. Like, this is why this is happening. This is why this isn't happening. So then I have to go in there and rearrange things. And it's not easy. It's not easy. But we are so far removed from the way that we really work and operate in our matrix system that this is hard work. Whereas other civilizations manifested things instantly. Because that's the way that their reality worked. Our reality is that we have no power. Our reality is that religion gives you forgiveness. Our reality is that the government allows us to do X, Y, and Z. So this isn't easy work. But once that you get closer to, I don't want to say master, because I don't know if anybody truly masters this. I mean, there might be some people on this earth, but when we get closer to or towards the mastering of this, like, we realize how powerful we really are. It's a strange game. You have to be a little not in the moment to manifest. And that's true. Joe, hi. It's Project 369 Manifestation Planner. you have to kind of not be in the current reality, because when you do your visualizations, you are going into a state of consciousness that may seem future to you. And when they say that time doesn't exist and all other shit, when you're manifesting and you're doing your visualization, you're shifting a timeline. You're going to a different timeline that's not currently in the 3D reality. And when people are working really hard, and you shouldn't say working really hard because that just means you're not in the state of the wish fulfilled that you want to be in. But when people are learning manifestation and you don't automatically see things in your reality, or like, I've been doing this and I don't see anything happening, a lot of times, well, realistically, our 3D reality is a reflection of our inner world. So if the old story still has to play out, your old story of the things that you don't have are still showing up in your 3D reality, they have to play out. If it's on the tape of your life, it still has to play out. So just because you're manifesting something doesn't mean the old story isn't going to still play out where you used to resonate in your mind. And then eventually the birds before land thing happens where you start to see signs of your manifestation. Maybe you start to see the car that you always wanted everywhere. Or you start to see the name of a person that you want to have in your life. Whatever it is, you start to see different signs of that. And that is the way the universe is signs. The universe is always sending us signs all the time if we're paying attention. If we're not paying attention, then it's just going to go over your head and under your feet. But when you start to see things that resemble your manifestation, that means it's coming closer to you. I'm a mom whose child has cut me out of their life, and I'll tell you that it hurts so bad and can make you feel a little crazy. I haven't stalked my daughter. However, I imagine sending her love. And I think that that's a really great state to be in, is to constantly send her love and like, thank you. I'm so grateful that you're my daughter and I'm sending you so much love. And try not to dwell on the pain and the hurt that it's causing, and think about the amazing times that you had with your child, because we all communicate telepathically whether we know it or we don't. So shift the way that you see the situation. See yourself reuniting with her, or going to dinner, or going to a lunch, or going to get coffee, and keep that visualization in your mind. As hard as it is, because we don't see that in our reality, that's going to create a shift in the dynamic of the reality that you're now feeling and experiencing. Oh, Joe, I'm sorry, Mommy. If you know you need to let go of someone you feel responsible for, how do you choose your happiness? Again, this is all self-concept stuff. When you have codependent relationships, I've had a codependent relationship, and the hardest thing to do is unattach yourself. But the codependency is not healthy to begin with. So what affirmations can you say to shift your state of consciousness? That maybe it's, this person is so happy on their own. This person has grown so much. This person is so strong now. I'm so grateful that I get to watch them be so strong on their own. We affirm either for ourselves, or we can affirm for other people. See them differently and they'll show up differently in your reality. It's again like creating those boundaries, even though we don't want to. There has to be a separation somewhere, because you're going to flourish so much more when you are on your own and you're independent of another human being. And a lot of people don't see it that way, but there's a lot of people that are trauma bonded together, and you don't know where one relationship ends and the other begins, or one person ends and the other begins, and that's not healthy. I know a lot of people that are in those situations, and I don't even think they know that they are. Let me see. We're going to wrap up in a few minutes, but let's just get through the self-concept part. What you currently experience in your world is but a reflection of your beliefs about yourself. I am is internal, externalized. I am is the internal, whatever you're saying to yourself, externalized in your 3D world. So if you don't like what you're seeing in your 3D world, what is your self-concept? Every day, if there's anybody that wants to share, how do you walk around in your day? Do you walk around that I am chosen? Do you walk around that I am worthy? Do you walk around that I have everything that I need? Do you walk around that I am loved? Or do you walk around your life and saying like, no one chooses me. I'm not worthy to have nice things. I don't deserve to have a nice house. I don't deserve to have a nice place to live, or whatever it is. This world is awful. Look how negative this is. There's so much destruction. The world is such a dark place. If this is your self-concept, the world's going to show you that. And there are people that will constantly send me DMs about all the atrocities that happen in life, and their life is miserable. I'm not choosing to live there, and I encourage other people to not live there as well. So your self-concept is everything. I am taking action. Love it. Someone said I walk around saying I am a living, breathing man in enslavement. Guess what, bud? You're always going to be enslaved. Nobody has the power to enslave you but your own mind. That's it. Or unless you are put in prison for whatever reason, which could be likely. If you say that I am a living man living in enslavement, you're going to manifest that prison sentence if you're not already living in the mental one. So listen, if you want to walk around with that as your affirmation, go right ahead, but your life's going to be a shit show. Oh my God, you helped me so much. Thank you so much for reminding me and helping me be more aware of my state of being. You're welcome. We all need the reminder. I need the reminder every day, every day. If you guys would see all the books around here on manifestation, you'd be like, I think that you are a little insane. But it's so important to me. Like, I have to do this work for myself too. I wish I could say that I mastered this and that I get things instantly, but I don't. But I read about it so that I can educate myself. But then I can also help other people shift. Because if we all start to shift, our world's not going to continue to look like this. Yes, I noticed that he's been trolling. So if that person wants to live in his own enslavement, be my friggin' guest. People like you enforce enslavement. Well, you were jumped by the court system. Your state of mind got you to where you are. I don't care what anybody says. Your own state of mind gets you to where you are. If you believe you're a victim all the time, life is going to make you a victim. If you walk out into the world and say, I am meeting the most amazing people ever, your tribe is going to be drawn to you. So if you say that you're a victim of the system, or that the system messed up your whole life, there's something in your consciousness that attracted that. There is something in your consciousness that attracted that. We're not born victims. Every single person has the power to empower themselves. I don't... You do such a great job of explaining manifestation, answering the questions, and understanding why. I try because I have to simplify things for myself. There are people like my sister who can learn manifestation in the form of like algebra, and I'm not one of those people. Like, my mind is very simple, and so I feel that that's the way that I digest it, and then that's the way that I approach it. Okay. I'm going to go for a couple more sentences and then we're going to conclude for today. Okay. What you currently experience in your world is but a reflection of your belief about yourself. I am is internal, externalized. Your world is nothing more than these two words objectified. As we begin to change our beliefs about ourselves, we begin to change our thoughts and behaviors, resulting in the change of our self-concept and state of consciousness. As we begin to change our beliefs about ourselves. And listen, You don't have to tell me. They're deeply ingrained in us, our beliefs. They're so deeply ingrained in us that it seems impossible to change them. If you grew up in a fucked up household, your self-concept is probably not going to be great. You're not going to feel worthy. You're going to feel like a victim. But we all have the power to change and shift that. Every one of us, no matter how bad our life was or how bad our programming was when we were children, because that drives 95% of our life, we all have the choice to change it. I'm just saying. Our goal is to develop a belief system that is in harmony with our vision. Our goal is to develop a belief system that is in harmony with our vision. So if your current belief system is I'm not worthy or I'm not chosen, we want to create a belief system that is now in harmony with the vision, like that I am chosen. I am worthy of having a great life. And that takes repetition. Whether it's affirmations that you repeat all the time, your visualizations, all these things, that when you have these things come up, even if, so I did my second Psych-K session, and for me, going shopping, that was a worthy piece. It's like, oh, maybe I shouldn't buy that, or, oh, I have money. It's not that I don't. I have money. I am abundant, right? But that old story is like, no, you shouldn't buy that. You might need this money for this. Now, I did my second Psych-K session last week. This week, I was like, I'm going to go to the mall. And I just started to spend a whole bunch of money. And I didn't, there's a little residual thought of, you shouldn't. And before I could even finish the fucking mental sentence, I was like, here's my credit card, thank you. And then after I walk out of the store, thank you, universe, for providing. Thank you, universe, for always providing for me. So the Psych-K sessions are shifting my consciousness in very subtle ways. To whereas before I'm like, oh, I can't spend that money. Oh, I shouldn't spend that money. Right? To where I'm now shifting out of that state that I shouldn't have, I'm not worthy of, I don't have enough of, to the universe is always going to provide for me, and understanding and believing that the universe is always going to provide for me. I'm not saying to go out and spend $20,000 on a shopping spree or even $500, whatever it is to you. But I'm saying for my shift, that was a challenge for me. Okay, now you are removed. Are people that bored and like come in here and troll? I don't understand. So guys, I think we're going to conclude for today. Mirror work is helping me to see the beliefs so I can evaluate them. That's a good one too. Joe, I already blocked him, so he's out. But I hope that I intend that this was helpful. I intend that this was helpful and empowering. And I'm glad that we just get to do this work together, because it's so important to create the reality that we want instead of accepting the reality that's given to us. Because if you let your subconscious run wild, you're not going to get what you want. Because most of us have these programs. And it's maybe not even from family life programming. It's the propaganda that's out there every single day telling us that the world's going to end tomorrow and the sky's going to fall. Those are all programs for us. So it's important for us to do this work so that we can create the reality that we want, and not the one that is just given to us or accepted. I'll see you guys on Thursday for Manifesting on Thursdays, and I'm going to post this. So if you want to, you can share it, save it, whatever you want. But self-concept is so important. So important. So I hope that you guys, and we'll get back to more of that, but I hope that everybody has an amazing day. And I'm sending love to everybody. So true. I'm getting back into creator mode. Thank you for the reminder. I've fallen into fear. Exactly. We all need these reminders, including myself. I remind myself every day, or I randomly open to Instagram and I get a message. Whatever messages you get, just know that they're messages from the universe, and do what you will with them. Love you all too. Thank you so much. I hope that this was helpful. I'm going to post this. Have an amazing day and an amazing week. And I might be live tonight with Johnny. Hopefully Johnny Cinematic will be live with me tonight, because he has so much good information about consciousness and all this stuff. And I think that that's important. So have an amazing day. Adios.